and welcome back to the Spoilercast, the show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my sister and trusted co-host Rebecca.
Hello!
Hello. And this is a bit of a special episode, because this is actually a Patreon request.
Yes.
We got a request, which you that's part of the perks if you enter in on the $3 tier or higher. If you tell us, hey, I want you to review this movie, we will. I mean, I guess I'd draw the line at porn, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
We need to be able to find it as well somewhere.
As well. But yeah, so hey, if you want us to review a movie, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakescene. But today, the request was not a porno.
No, thank God.
It was one of the motion picture best. I don't know what the fuck. What is the category called? Is it best picture? I think so. Yeah. Nominees at the Oscars this year: American Fiction.
Yeah.
Just requested by our patron Daniel Del Gaiso. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you.
So we thought we're going to talk about American Fiction, but we're also going to talk a little bit about the Academy Award nominees, Best Picture nominees we haven't talked about yet.
Yes.
But we'll focus mostly on American Fiction. So we'll start with that. And also just want to say, if you like the show, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're here on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on anywhere else, just click the follow button. It helps immensely. And leave your comments what you think about the movies we talk about. But other than that, American Fiction. It's a I would say comedy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. More comedy than drama. Written and directed by Court Jefferson, starring Jeffrey Wright. A novelist who's fed up with the establishment profiting from black entertainment uses a pen name to write a book that propels him into the heart of the hypocrisy and madness he claims to disdain. Yeah, that's the movie.
That is really the movie.
That's literally the movie. So, we're going to do this very, very traditionally. I'm going to ask you, what did you think of American Fiction?
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah, okay, good.
It was almost like, an everyday movie, because it's very mundane in what it is, but then you throw in the whole criticizing of like using your color or your background to gain fame, even though it's he's competing, or not competing, what's the word, he's
what, judging
the generalization of black people.
Oh, yeah, that too, yeah. Which is this big thing. Like Thelonious Monk Ellison, played by Jeffrey Wright. He's a writer that has struggled very much with kind of shedding his identity as a black man, a black writer, and just to be a writer.
Yes.
And he finds this I don't know, this modern thing of really leaning into modern black culture and using it as a way to become famous. Yeah, he finds it kind of distasteful, which I understand.
Yes, definitely, especially since that's not his truth, so to speak.
Yeah, he didn't grow up like that.
No,
at all. But then, his writing career has kind of stagnated. He had one successful book, and he hasn't been able to write a big one since then.
No.
He hasn't been able to write at all since then, I think. Or at least get something that
he had like paper, one or two after that, and then they didn't do well, so he kind of stopped.
Yeah. And then, he sees the success of the Flavor of the Month writer, the lady who... Do you remember the name of her book?
Oh, no.
It
was something dumb.
Yeah. The title, it's written in AVE, as it's called, African American Vernacular.
Yeah.
It's supposed to sound like, sort of like, we had actually a book like that in Sweden, a long time ago now. Well, yeah, pretty long time ago, called Ett öga rött. Remember that?
No.
I a red eye, I guess the book was called. It was written by an immigrant to Sweden, I think, and it was written in the kind of language that immigrant kids use here in Sweden, and a lot of slang, a lot of borrowing words from like Middle
Arabic
Eastern,
and Turkish and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it was so super cool, because all the, like in this movie, all the white people could really understand what it is to be a black person growing up in America, and he sees it as kind of false because it's not every black person's reality. This book, that kind of writing, he didn't grow up like that. No one in his family grew up like that.
No.
So he kind of he rages against it. But then one night,
trying to find what the book was called. Her book was called, but I can't.
It's probably in the trailer. Yeah. But then one night, as he's drinking, imbibing a little bit, I think reading through the book, because it's part of the book festival. He is kind of part of the jury over to nominate like the book of the year or something.
Yeah.
And he like, I can do this, and he just makes up some super stereotypical black story, basically.
Weez lives in the ghetto.
Weez lives in the ghetto, yo.
With like that. What was it called?
AVE, African American Vernacular. Yeah. I think it's called. Like I gotta double check that. So I'm not. Hold on.
I didn't know that that was a thing. I just thought people didn't know how to pronounce ask. I genuinely, I never understood that.
African American Vernacular English is the variety of English natively spoken, particularly in urban communities by most working and middle class African Americans and some Black Canadians.
Well, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So, and this book, of course, then becomes a mega success, but he has penned it under a fake name.
Yeah. Oh no. What was it?
One eternity later.
Yeah, he writes his book called My Pathology.
Oh yeah.
Spelling pathology with an F. Mocking literary cliches expected from black writers. And he uses the pen name Stag R. Lee.
Stag. Yeah.
And he starts because then he has to start making interviews and stuff, and just keeps spreading it on thick. Like he's on the run. He was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list and shit.
Yeah. That's like their dumb excuse for not having to show his face in case someone recognizes him.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people.
He's a teacher as well, so his kids, the students could recognize him if they happen to be watching the show. So yeah, of course he doesn't want to show his face, and because this isn't what he writes normally, and he doesn't want to be. It was
supposed to be a joke, and now it's becoming his most successful book, and he has to kind of come to terms with that, and at the same time he's struggling to keep his family together. After his mother starts showing signs of Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah. And kind of a spoiler, but kind of not. His sister very suddenly passes away in the beginning of the movie.
Shit, yeah, that's true.
But which I have to say it was very strange because the sister is played by Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yes.
Great actress, and she's in the movie for what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, you wasted her?
Wow.
I mean, like, I thought she would be around more because she's such a big actress.
Yeah.
But what little she was in, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Like this whole movie. It's not a very, it's not very plot heavy.
No.
It's more about, it's very, very character driven.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I'm just gonna say, it was a while. I watched this because I had already watched this when I got the request, or we got the request. But you watched it recently.
For the first time on sometime this week. I don't remember what day.
Yeah. So it's a little foggy in my head, the details. But what it is really is him struggling with kind of coming to terms with the fact that he wrote this thing, presumably like he writes it as a memoir, like it's supposed to be real.
Yeah.
And it becomes super successful. I mean, they want to turn it into a movie.
Yeah, like weeks after it's barely released.
Yeah. And at the same time, he is trying to, fix up his family life.
Yeah.
Which is very much the complete opposite of the life he kind of created for his character, Stagger Lee, in the book.
Yeah.
And kind of how the two not contradict each other, but how they what do you say when they don't mirror each other? I don't know.
Yeah, how they differ, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating to see also how he and the other, because in this little, he gets nominated or picked for a little committee to choose the most important book of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
And him and one other woman, this Sintara Golden, who wrote that other book then that has the AV language.
Yeah.
They're the only black ones in this committee. Both of them agree that this book that he's written, which they don't know that he wrote, is more or less trash.
Yeah.
Funny thing is that her book is basically exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so they kind of try to. Well, he becomes kind of miffed, like, why do you say that my pathology is worse than Weez Lives in the Ghetto?
Yeah, and she becomes very defensive.
Yeah,
and can't really explain it though, other than I did a lot of research.
yeah.
That's basically all she says. I put a lot of work into this. It's like, sure, and he didn't technically.
No,
but it just proves that maybe you don't have to do a lot of research when you're writing that kind of book, because it's very simple in what it's trying to say.
Yeah,
it's just it's your generic black family story, Black American family story, I should say.
Yeah.
And then just exaggerated to what white people see black people like, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's really the big thing. Like, all the people who are excited about this book are white people.
Yes,
and it's also a little bit like how they can profit from the book.
Yes,
definitely. They instantly want to make it into like a bestseller. They want to turn it into a movie and all this. Even when
they'll agree to anything.
Yeah, because
as long as they can get to release it, even renaming it. Which is the dumbest thing ever that they agreed to.
Yeah. Renaming it to fuck.
Yeah.
And they just go, okay.
Yeah, they're like, fine, sure. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bold, it's daring, it's, I think they even say it's black. Which was also like, okay, sure. But it's fun. It's interesting to watch how this changes Monk.
Yeah.
Throughout all of this, how he leans into it, but then he has two very separate characters, but then in the end he's having a hard time separating them, basically, or coming to terms with the fact that Stag is more popular and more interesting than Monk or Thelonious, the actual writer.
Yeah.
And how that puts a strain on his relationships, not just with his family that already is strained and is already in turmoil in general, but then also with his new girlfriend, Coraline.
Yeah. And then, and it's also caught in this thing, like, like we said, he wishes to, to not be locked down as a black writer.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing he says. Like, when his publisher calls, he says the book isn't doing too well, something. He's like, yeah, but you know what they want? He's like, yeah, but they want a black book. Yeah, this is a black book.
It is a black book. It's written by a black person.
By a black writer.
Yeah.
And his, I think it's Arthur, right? Played by John Ortiz.
Yes. Also, very
like,
small role. Very, very good.
Yes. Like, well, you know what they want.
Exactly.
They want a black book.
Yeah, and that's where the genius of the movie lies, in that, like, black culture, especially in America, but in the world, in the Western world, I suppose, it's so like engraved into every black person. Like, it's perceived like this is a hard one to talk about. I don't want to come off as like ignorant or racist, but it's the fact that as a black person, a black writer in this case, you are people expect you to write a certain kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's not interesting, which in its own way is very racist.
Yes.
It's the kind of we've talked about the liberal racism, where like, all the white movie producers and white what is it called, bokförlag, publishing companies. Yeah, they really wanna they really wanna sell the black experience.
Yes.
Unless
they only know one black experience.
Unless the black experience doesn't line up with what they think the black experience is.
Yeah.
And that's what he's trying to reveal here, really.
Yeah.
Problem is, though, and that's where the complexity lies in, is for a lot of black people, my pathology and We Lives in the Ghetto is their experience.
Sure.
That's why AAVE exists. Like, it's
definitely.
I mean, because that's unless I'm understanding this the wrong way, it's kind of a remnant of the fact that black people early on in America weren't given proper educations, so they didn't speak correctly, quote unquote.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then they kind of owned it.
Yeah.
Same way that they owned the N-word, like they turned it into a point of pride, sort of.
Exactly.
So to kind of belittle that, especially from a black writer,
is also kind of weird.
It's also kind of weird. So it's this,
however,
super complex thing.
It's there's two things to this. Is that part, obviously, but then there's also like not accepting that there are black people who have another reality.
Yeah, of course.
Is also racist, because there are a lot of, like in his family, a lot of doctors, a lot of writers, a lot of well-educated people who speak correctly, if you want to be like that specific.
Yeah, like none of his brothers or sisters or family at all is stereotypically black.
Yeah, they're not ghetto or whatever.
Yeah,
they live in this giant house.
Yeah, they have a beach
in-house
house.
maid.
Yeah,
they have a beach house. They have like a third house, I think.
Yeah,
that they actually sell off.
The brother
with
is
pool and everything.
Yeah, his brother, played by what's his name, Sterling K. Brown. If anything, is very stereotypically gay.
Yes,
and goes even more gay once he's out of the closet, which happens, it has happened just before the movie starts. And I guess the movie, and that's why I really want. That's what I really like about this movie. It does not try to like. It's not a finger wagging movie. It's not trying to like. No. Well, this is what you don't understand about black culture thing. No. It's
not trying to justify one or the other.
No, it's not trying to moralize one or the other. It's pointing out the absurdity and the hypocrisy of all of this, and and
that both can exist, really.
Yeah, and with the risk of sounding a bit liberal, like how we're all actually kind of the same, sort of.
Yeah,
but that's I think we kind of have to go into spoilers a little bit.
Sure.
How long are we? Well, we are 20 minutes in, so fuck it. Spoilers for the ending, really.
Yes.
Spoilers. As he is helping the film to he's there to
Adam Brody,
the producer, director, blah blah blah. He's helping them with the script. They want to change the ending, or he want to change the ending.
Yes.
And we see 3 different endings.
Yes.
Which is kind of a cop-out.
Yeah.
where it ends with him explaining everything. He goes up because they win an award for the book, of course, and he goes up on stage and just says it's all a scam. Like, I am Stag Arlie.
Yeah, this was all just basically a joke.
Yeah.
And you all fell for it.
Yeah. And people don't like him for it.
No.
But then at the same time, since the FBI now, for some reason, are looking for Stag Arlie...
Yeah, because he's been, all throughout the movie, he's been spinning this story about how Stag Arlie is a fugitive, and that's why he doesn't want to show his face.
But shouldn't the FBI know that they're not looking for someone called Stag?
Yeah, because they don't have him on the record for doing something bad, so they can't, like... They're just like, oh, he says he's on the run, then we need to catch him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a comment on how stupid the police is.
Or, how we presume all black people are criminals. It's it's a bit of that in there as well.
Yes.
But then there's also an ending where, I guess that's 2 endings, and then the third ending is him just running away from there to be with his new girlfriend, who he is kind of shunned as the story goes on.
Yeah, he gets annoyed with her because she
really likes...
falls for the ruse. She likes the book.
Yeah. And he can't wrap his head around...
She liked one of his earlier books as well.
Yeah.
Like, people can like different kinds of books, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay, you don't have to like just one specific book.
And the movie ends with him standing there at her door saying, like, I'm not really sure, like, what I think or what I know.
Yeah.
Which I think it's a little bit of a cop-out.
Yes.
But I do like the ending, because the movie doesn't really have an ending.
No, that's the thing, though. It's just showing us that, it could end either way, because, all realities are real for someone.
Yeah. Which then...
all of this is what someone is going through, basically.
Yeah, which, of course, kind of ties into the fact that, like, there's no definitive answer what it means to be a black person.
No,
or exactly. What it means to, what racial... identity is like.
Yeah,
you can be black and write books about ancient history and stuff, very un-black, I suppose.
Sure, yeah.
So there's not really an answer, because there's not supposed to be one.
No, because everyone can live their lives. You can be proud of your heritage and still be a completely different person than the one you grew up with. Yeah. Basically, you can come from the ghetto, not be ghetto. You can stay in the ghetto if you want to. There's all kinds of ways in life.
Yeah, no. Which I would say that's the strongest part of this, except for the ending. It's so very well written.
Yes.
I would like to read, because it's based on a book, which makes this very meta.
Right.
It's a movie based on a book about a guy writing a book that turns into a movie.
Yeah.
And then the ending of this movie is the ending of the movie.
That's the thing I'm a bit confused about. Like, when does the movie we're watching become the movie he's writing?
It's hard to tell.
And when are we actually watching the movie we are watching?
Yeah.
Well, it's Inception, kind of.
It's part of the confusion,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's writing his story, but also not his story,
Yeah.
It's so weird, but it's so good.
Yeah, and it's...
you don't, like you said, you don't need to know, really.
No,
it's just there.
And like I said, the writing is so good.
Oh, yes.
The dialogue is so sharp. Like I said, the plot is very, very interesting and complex. Yeah. In all that it explores.
But it's also so well made and it's complex, but it's easy to follow along still.
Yeah,
it's not like it's one of those movies where you have to like totally focus and like
no
rewind to like, did I actually understand that part? No, you could just. It's almost like a feel-good movie in the way it's so easy digested.
Yeah, but it also
but it still lifts these complicated moral questions. Basically,
this is a classic. This is one of those movies where you could show it to someone who I only like I just want to watch something simple, something funny and exciting.
Yeah.
You can show them this, and they would laugh because it's funny, but they would also make them think.
Most likely, unless
which is very funny because that's I see myself a little bit in Jeffrey Wright's character, not the black part, but the fact that he's of course not. I'm very not black.
No, we're as white as they come.
Yeah. That's why I wear a white shirt today.
Oh,
See,
yeah,
there's a theme. There's a theme. Anyway,
I did not do this intentionally.
that he's desperate to try to like educate people, like
Yes.
to think about other things, and why he doesn't want to dumb down the black experience to just we lives in the ghetto.
Yeah.
Like he wants to show a different side of the black experience.
Yes.
But he can't. Because
people don't want to
people
watch
don't care.
that or
because, and I bring this up very, very often, most people are dumb.
Yeah.
And the writers of those kind of books, they aim for average and they hit the bullseye every time.
It's like, I loved that metaphor that Arthur did in The Office when he tried to explain like what people want.
Yeah.
With was it Jim Beam? The red label, the blue, black label, and the blue label.
Yeah.
With the prices not. We should practically clip that and just put it in because it's fantastic.
Johnny Walker Red, $24. Johnny Walker Black, $50. Johnny Walker Blue, $160. You see the metaphor?
No.
These are all made by the same company. The red is shit, the black is less shit, the blue is good. But fewer people buy the blue because it's expensive. And at the end of the day, most people just want to get drunk. For most of your career, your books have been blue. They're good, complex, but they're not popular because most people want something easy. Now, for the first time ever, you've written a red book. It's simple, prurient. It's not great literature, but satisfies an urge. And that's valuable. What I'm trying to illustrate is that just because you do red doesn't mean you can't also do blue. You can do it all.
That was like the best way of explaining anything, really.
Yeah.
When it comes to what people
want.
What
people like, the thing they like, yeah.
Yeah.
And why it's so hard to get them to kind of branch out, especially when it comes to art.
Yeah.
Really anything, but specifically art, because it's what it's about. It's about writing.
Yeah.
And that's what I struggle with so much when I talk about movies here, when I talk about movies with friends, colleagues. It's just like, but I also saw this really weird but interesting movie, and they're like, oh, okay.
It's what you struggle with even trying to make videos on YouTube.
Yes.
It's what I struggle with even trying to like post things on Instagram for us.
Yeah.
Even though I have very simple things to post, I'm like, this is so dumb.
That is why I remember like for several years I said like we should do more like reviews of smaller movies that are more interesting, thought provoking. But then we always just revert back to mainly popular movies, and sometimes weave in here and there some classics and some smaller movies, because that's what people want to see. Yeah,
and until you've become PewDiePie, you can't really, or Jenna Marble specifically, I have to say, because she's the master of doing whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, she's not even online and people are still watching her videos.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're at that level, no, you have to cater to what the audience wants.
Yeah.
It's once you've become that level of famous that you can do whatever you want and people will still watch it or read it or buy it.
That's why I was really happy a few years ago. I guess he still kind of does it, but PewDiePie actually had like a book club.
Oh yeah,
where he read like some really heavy stuff, like some old Roman like philosophy stuff.
Yes.
I think he read like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, I think, and he read that the book that kind of created Stoicism, which I haven't read that. I've just read parts of it. But like because there's so much information, so much knowledge, so much you can learn from stuff like that. But people just like, no, but I really like Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah, Endgame is fun, but
that.
damn it.
Yeah, well, it's
so that's why this is a movie. This is an important movie for so many different reasons.
Yes.
For the whole black experience thing, but also for the fact that there's an entire world out there of experiences that people aren't getting because we're only getting the generic bullshit.
We're only following mainstream. We're so afraid of swimming upstream sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Branching off.
Yeah. And that's why, like I said, I do like that they don't try to like force you, like, do you understand now, stupid simple people? This is what you should. They don't do that, but it's also like the movie in the end kind of goes like, okay, whatever. It's like, which that's the only thing that, I mean, I gave this 4.5 on Letterboxd. What did I write?
I gave it a 4.
I
didn't write anything. I just rated it.
I didn't write much. I just wrote, damn, I wish I had been able to watch this earlier. It would definitely have ended up on my top 10 list of 2023. Yeah, because this is technically a 2024 release here in Sweden. It's on Amazon Prime now in Sweden.
Yeah.
Then I wrote,
it's a 2023 release for everything else, basically.
And then I wrote, it's so visceral and real. And as a white person, that's exactly what I want. Which is basically what they say in the movie.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I give this a 4.5. If the ending was a little more concrete, which I do like, the kind of, you know, you make it up yourself in the end. But this kind of movie needed more of a concrete ending. It would have been a 5 out of 5 for me, because everything is so good here. Especially, like we said, the writing, but especially Jeffrey goddamn Wright.
Yes,
he is so good in this.
Yes,
like I've liked him for a long time. But this feels like one of his first like big leading roles.
I actually can't think of anywhere I've seen him before, like off the top of my head.
Well,
that's the weird thing.
Well, you did see him. He was in. You have seen him. He's kind of a chameleon, and he's never the starring guy. He was the general in Asteroid City.
Oh yeah,
you know the guy. He was Lieutenant Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, or Lieutenant.
Oh
Gordon,
right, in Batman.
But he's such a chameleon as an actor. You can't barely tell because he's a completely different character in that movie.
That's good though.
Yeah, he
great. Actually plays the character, doesn't play, himself.
So he's a great actor. I didn't love the show, but he is amazing in Westworld.
Oh, he's Beatty in the Hunger Games Mockingjay.
I don't know. Okay, sure.
And
I haven't seen that. I don't know.
Oh, he's really unrecognizable.
yeah, because he's such a great actor. I know him. I think I first.
Holy shit! I've seen him in a lot of things.
Yes, you have. He plays Felix Leiter, the CIA agent in the new Bond movies, and he's in all. I think he dies in the last one because that movie sucked, killed everyone.
Still haven't seen that one, and I don't care.
Yeah. And that's where I think I saw him the first in Casino Royale in 2006, and then I remember he just pops up here and there. Well, I have seen him in things before this, I see, but I don't you don't, like I said.
You didn't realize it was...
No, because he kind of blends in. Yeah, he's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
Is this his first nomination?
Big.
Yes, nominated for 1 Oscar.
Probably, yeah.
And it's for this year, I think. Well, duh, it is this year. I know it is this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, yeah, I agree, and I gave this a 4. Because we rate movies a little bit differently.
Yeah,
this is not like a fantastic, perfect movie that I will rewatch over and over and over. It's not a masterpiece in like cinematography.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We talked about this, so we talked about Dune Part 2, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like that movie, yeah, we were both like so ecstatic over that, but I still gave it a 4 because it does not have that staying power, and I don't think this has that either. This is very much a movie of its time.
Yes.
And once again, at the risk of sounding stereotyping, it feels very much like a 2010s/2020s black movie.
It feels like one of those movies that kids should watch in school when they're like 15 or older to then talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it opens up for a lot of discussions about, like we just did, like the black experience, media in general. how very different things can be, and how many different experiences people can have, even though they are the same kind of people, you know?
Yeah.
No, I think it's a great movie.
Oh yeah. If this was in 2023 for us, it would definitely be nominated for some spoilers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jeffrey Wright, definitely.
Oh
yes. What's his name? Jeffrey Cord? No, the writer director. Cord Jefferson. Sorry, Cord Jefferson. I switched it. Definitely nominated for both of those. I would even go as far as to say Best Picture nomination.
Oh yeah.
So this is one of those where I understand why the Academy picked it.
Yes.
I'm wondering if they did it for the same reason that all the white people in the movie picked the book.
Now this is a perfect segue into the rest of the Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
Because
I just want to.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say because that's also like, I know the Academy is not all white, but it's mostly white.
Yes.
So they must have seen like they must have understood that, like, oh, they're making fun of us for being that obvious as white people.
Yes.
But then also, if they wouldn't have nominated that, then it would be obvious why they didn't nominate it. So it's a bit of a like, you sneaky bastard, Cord Jefferson. This is, you know what this is? This is a right kind of Oscar bait, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Like, you better nominate us,
or
you know,
or else, you know.
Or else you reveal yourself as idiots who didn't get the movie.
Yeah.
But if you do it, you're playing right into our hands. Yeah. And that, leads us into...
That's our nominations.
That's our review of American Fiction.
Yes.
Really, really good movie. Like I said, it's on Prime now, at least here it should be everywhere, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Check it out, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
It's an amazing movie.
Now,
but
talking about the other Oscar nominations for Best Picture,
yes.
Everything except for Anatomy of a Fall, because we could not find that anywhere to watch for some weird reason. You know,
no, here in Sweden,
anywhere.
it was in theaters in like November, I think.
Yeah.
We skipped it then because it's 2.5 hours fucking long.
I thought it was in French as well, so
yeah.
I wasn't really feeling French at the moment, and we had other things to do.
And now it's not available anywhere in Sweden, so yeah.
Not even online,
that,
you know.
Yeah,
so,
online.
Except for that one, we've watched all of the nominations.
Yes.
We're gonna skip...
Caveat, I still haven't finished Poor Things.
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
No.
We're gonna skip the 4 ones that we've actually already done episodes on.
Yeah.
And that is Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Barbie.
Yeah.
Just want to mention that 2 of those are partially nominated just because of what they are and not because they're good, even though they are, because both of those were nominated as Best Picture for us as well, which is Past Lives and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh.
They're a bit of a virtue.
Well, Oppenheimer as well.
Sure, yeah, that's true. But it's also like, you know, that one is at least they're white. But yeah, so we need to talk about The Holdovers, Poor Things, Maestro, and The Zone of Interest.
Yes.
And I feel like at least 3 of them, or if not all 4 of them, are also kind of nominated because, not just because they're good, which most of them are.
Yeah.
But they're also nominated because if they didn't, that would be a bad thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Specifically, the one you didn't watch, Poor Things.
Yes.
We can just quickly go about that one.
Let's go over. I watched the first hour.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I gave up somewhere in Lisbon.
Yeah.
That the movie takes place partly in Lisbon. And I was just like, I know where this is going. I don't appreciate this.
I actually made comments. I had to write down things because I got annoyed.
I also think it's kind of a detriment to the point it's trying to make.
Yes.
But yeah, you talk more about it because you've actually finished it.
So the movie gets points for being stylish. I'll give it that.
Sure.
It's beautiful in the way they've decided to style things and the set pieces and all that stuff. It's pretty. It's very pretty. It reminds me of oh no, what's that movie we watched not too long ago?
For me, I think Beau is Afraid.
I didn't watch Beau is Afraid, so
no, that's true.
But it reminds me of hotel movie that the Asteroid City guy did? The Wes Anderson movie. What's it called?
Grand Budapest.
Yes.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
With the whole set pieces and all that stuff.
Yeah, that everything looks like a set.
Yes.
It's in that way, it's very cinematic, and I do like that.
Yeah, and the fashion and the dresses and all that stuff. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Haute couture, basically.
I applaud it for that.
It's wasted on this very strange story, which is trying to portray female emancipation, I assume.
Yeah.
But
that's
they're
a big
also,
thing from what I understand.
They're also kind of there's a word for it, like that has to do with infants, infantilizing women as well. Especially in the beginning when they have grown-ass men falling in love with this simpleton of a woman who
basically a child
who literally has the brain of a child.
Yeah, and I found
that's pedophilia.
Incredibly disturbing.
Yes, I was disgusted.
And I've watched people talk about the movie. Nobody mentions that.
Oh, that was the first. I literally wrote down a pretentious way of showing two very different ways of depriving a child of her childhood. That was the first thought I had of this. And then showing three different ways of depriving women of freedom, of possession and jealousy, the unfair life of woman. Sure, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, sure.
But then it's also, in a dumb, artsy-fartsy, pretentious way.
Yeah.
It's scandalous even in the fact that they're literally pining over a brain of a 1-year-old.
Yeah. And it, does it end with her, like, leaving all the men in her life behind her? It doesn't. Okay, good. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
There's the thing. There's a rapid development of her. Obviously, she learns things very quickly. She becomes developed much earlier than a normal child would because it's a movie. In the end, she right after where you basically left off, she ends up in Paris, and she's figured out that by now she's figured out that sex is great. In Paris, she learns that you can make money from having sex, or furious bouncing, or whatever the fuck she calls it.
Yeah.
Which is also for crying out loud. And which makes Mark Ruffalo's character even more angry with her, because he wants her to be pure, but with anyone else except for him.
It has to be both what is it, Madonna and a whore or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That you're supposed to be
saint.
What is Borgor says? Oh no, what is it? Ah, shit. He has a wonderfully misogynistic quote about that.
It's possession. It's jealousy. It's wanting to have something for yourself and wanting to play with the toy only for you kind of thing. Yeah. She's just a pretty toy to him, and as soon as he has to share her, it loses its value. She's a whore now. She's not valuable.
Yeah, even though he likes that she's super sexual.
Yes, but only with him.
With him. Yeah, exactly.
Anyone else? Ugh, yuck. He doesn't even like that she starts developing her language, because she uses these big random words, but then she uses she calls it bumping uglies or whatever she calls it.
Yeah.
And he even comments at one point like, I don't like how you're starting to use these strange words. I want you simple, basically.
Because that's what men want. Men basically want a real doll.
Yes. And she is a real doll until she leaves Paris, when she has started studying the same things that God studies, or Godwin.
Yeah.
Also annoying that they had to call him God.
Hey, metaphors!
Yeah, I know,
Do you get it?
Yeah. But it's so on the nose.
Yeah, I know.
And she even, figures out that he did something wrong with her, that he made her what she is. She figures out that her brain is not hers eventually, and has to tell her the whole truth. But she's still whatever. She doesn't, leave. She doesn't rebel, which I thought she would when she finds out.
Does she become her own woman?
Kind of.
Is she emancipated in the end?
No, she marries, what's his name? Alex?
Oh, the first guy.
What? Candles.
That's also really weird.
But she does it because it's a mutual, platonic marriage, basically. Which is just strange. And also they throw in a twist of, finding out her history about who she was before she lost her brain.
Yeah.
Which was so unnecessary.
Listen, I see the point of the movie. I do enjoy some of it, but like I said, the first hour is just her, like her becoming a woman is just her, discovering, sexual pleasure.
Basically.
Like, that's what it means to become a woman. There's nothing else. There's no,
Nah.
there's no, well, you did say that she starts studying and stuff. Like, there's so much more than just sex to be a person.
Mainly, this entire movie, like 2/3 of this movie is about her, and first of all, discovering sex and then discovering sexual liberty.
Yeah.
It's still just about sex, though.
Yeah.
And that diminishes the whole female experience.
Yeah.
Which they're trying to depict
but
somehow.
That is, hey, sort of like in American fiction, that is what a lot of modern feminists sees as like the most like important thing, that you are sexually emancipated. You are that's why we celebrate sex workers.
Yeah, but
because they take control over their own bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah, but showing a character in this case that does not understand that she's selling her own body and how and why she's doing it, then selling her own body is not it.
No, but she does it. She's in control, so it's
sure,
okay.
But she doesn't understand why.
No.
She has no clue why people want to have sex with her if she doesn't like them.
No.
She even questions it. She's like, she questions a patron, like, wouldn't you prefer it if the girl was into you? And she gets chastised for it. Or whatever. Like, the maitre d' goes like, no, not maitre d', the mother of the mother hen or whatever. She's like, no, you silly girl. Just have sex with the man. Shut up.
Yeah. So, and that's also...
They're not landing in what they're trying to say. They're just skirting around it and saying it in weird ways and not really hammering it in.
Yeah. And that's also a thing with... this just started to go into patron territory, but...
I know, but whatever.
The whole thing with sexual liberation... it's also it's a double-edged sword, because yes, of course, you should be free to do what you feel within consent, of course,
yes.
And all that stuff. No animals or children involved.
No. They cannot give consent.
No, exactly. But there's also then, as a sexually liberated person, mainly woman, but men also, it is very, very easy to take advantage of you. And if you do not know the full scope of sexual liberation, you will be taken advantage of. That's why we have human trafficking. That's why we have sex slaves, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. In the real world, not in this hyper feminist world that this movie takes place in, she would have been kidnapped. She would have been sold off, and they would never have seen her again.
No.
Sorry, that's what would have happened. Especially since this takes place in, like, the Victorian era. Like, she would be gone. She would be disappeared in minutes.
Yeah, and probably dead.
That's your
within
sexual
a couple
liberation.
Years as well.
Sorry for saying it, but that's just the truth.
Yeah.
They're
romanticizing something that should not be romanticized in that era.
Exactly. It must be, or in any era, it's a much more complex subject than just, well, she's her own woman now.
She never says no to a man, though. We never get to see her say no to any of the patrons. Which is...
She doesn't have to.
No, because they're all attractive and she wants to. No, fuck no. We can see on her face that she doesn't want to. She even tells one of them that he stinks. And she still lets him fuck her. Like...
Yeah, she doesn't, yeah.
Because she doesn't really understand, because even then, her brain is not fully developed. She is maybe a teenager by then in her head.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And that's why I, first of all, thought that this is a very...
this is written by a
very
woman,
lackluster...
Right?
Huh?
Was this movie written by a woman?
I think it's written by Yorgos. Well, and No, wait, it isn't. It's Tony McNamara and Alistair Gray. Tony, I'm guessing, is a man. I'm assuming their gender, I suppose, but whatever. And then Alistair Gray.
Let me see here. Writer, Tony McNamara. Yeah, that's a dude. with a full beard, so I'm gonna assume, like, I'm sorry. Alistair Gray, he was a writer and director. Yeah.
Is he dead?
Died in 2019. Okay. Was a writer and actor known for Poor Things, 30-Minute Theater and Theater 625. Old man.
Oh.
And director is Yorgos Lanthimos.
Who I really like as a director. He's made one of my favorite movies of all time, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Why did he not do
he made
that
The Favorite,
with this one?
which is really good. Yeah, I think this was...
Favorite. It feels like something a woman would do to like try and like be a woman, you know? But it's made by
This is written by old guys.
What the fuck?
So this is just a bunch of old men writing about this.
Now it's even worse then.
Yeah,
now it's
this little girl who just wants to have sex with everyone. Yeah. It's a trope. I don't like the guy who made it up. It's on YouTube. He's the pop culture detective. He's a super gross fucking male feminist. I hate him. Sorry. Whatever. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no,
but he had a series where he talked about tropes, especially tropes around female characters. He had one called Born Sexy Yesterday, where you have this very beautiful character that is super naive. Sort of like perfect example is do you remember The Fifth Element?
Yeah. Where
Mila Jovovich, she's basically turned into a human, a fully fledged, fully functional human, but she doesn't know anything about the world, and because she's supposed to be like this perfect being, which I mean, Mila Jovovich in the 90s, yes, but so every man who like looks at her just instantly falls in love or lusts after her, so her whole and she doesn't understand better, so she kind of like gives into it, and it turns out that all she is just she's the fifth element, which is love.
Yeah.
So it's this thing where we, sexualize what is basically a child.
A beautiful child,
or not as explicit, but fucking Ariel in The Little Mermaid. She doesn't know anything about the world, but the prince just wisps her off her feet.
In the original, she's even a child.
Yeah.
In the Disney version, she's a teenager.
Not much better.
Ew.
This falls into that category for me.
Yeah, it's
Born Sexy Yesterday. Like she's this fully functional woman with a child's brain, so men can take advantage of her, which they do.
Yes, throughout this entire movie.
Is that a good thing?
No.
Even though she's emancipated, they still keep taking advantage of her.
She's emancipated from her father figure, from God. Yeah. But she's not emancipated from anyone else. Her ultimate emancipation is the fact that because the twist in the end is that her husband shows up. The man she was married to before she died. Turns out she killed herself because she didn't want the child she was pregnant with. Whose brain is now in her head.
Yeah.
And she literally did that because her husband forced her to have a child with him. So her emancipation from that was to kill herself.
And become
How is that a good thing? And then she accidentally became this thing.
That he could easily just remarry and have a child with, because she wouldn't object. Who cares? She just likes doing furious jumping.
Furious jumping, yeah, that's what she called
it. Yeah. I see what they were going for. I think they failed. I don't think it's a terrible movie. It's a 3 out of 5 because it has style, it has good performances and all that. But the script, no.
It also bothers me that, like, even though she develops a lot throughout the movie, Emma Stone's character still has these childish ways of certain things.
Yeah, she staggers around like a little toddler. Yeah. It's super weird.
I feel like she should, like, if she starts having sex, shouldn't her body and the way she moves develop as well?
Or is she that stiff when they're having sex?
Not really.
That would be very uncomfortable.
She's not, though. The scenes you see, she's not.
I guess.
So, it's strange.
It's strange. And I don't like it.
No,
well,
me neither.
I kind of liked it.
No, I didn't.
So,
I only gave it points for being stylish. That's it.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't finish it, so I won't give it an official rating, but it's a 3 out of 5 for me.
There's one movie I don't really know how to talk a lot about because I found it very strange.
Which one?
The Zone of Interest.
Ah, yes. Let's talk, because I saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
You didn't like it at all, right?
No.
Because you didn't tell me, but you hinted at that you gave it like a super low score.
Oh yeah, I gave it like a 1.
Okay.
If even that. I give it a half star.
Jesus Christ, okay.
It's not pretty, first of all, so it's not fun to look at because it's all very grey. Yeah. There's this horrible background noise of people dying constantly, which just irks me enormously.
That's the point, though.
Yeah. I don't really understand what it's trying to say, if I'm being honest. And it's not because it's in German. I had subtitles.
Yeah.
I understand that it's like a family drama, but within the borders of Auschwitz, I guess. But
yeah, it's the commandant, the chief of Auschwitz, who lives literally next door with his family to Auschwitz. Yeah, and it's really what they're trying to say is it's you've heard the expression the banality of evil.
Yeah.
Like how evil can manifest in the most mundane of ways.
Yeah.
Which a lot of Nazism was, because they were always like, oh no, we are not trying to eradicate the Jew, we just, we're trying to help them, we're trying to make them concentrate here in our camp. Yeah. But they were just burning them, because they wanted to get rid of them. It's this, they're not, I mean, sometimes they were, like, but for the most part, they didn't try to be like comic book villains, like, yes.
No, they were normal people.
Kills them all.
They were normal people just, doing their jobs, basically.
Yeah, that's how they saw it.
Yeah.
They were just like, we're
hired by the army.
We're just running this factory where we burn people, because that's what we do. That's the banal, you accept something so evil, something so vicious.
Yes.
And that's what this does as well. This family, who they don't really express much of any anti-Semitism.
No,
they
mother
they don't like
and
talk
her
down
friends.
about it, but they mention like, oh, we have Jewesses living here, and
Yeah, the mother and her friends leave these like strange little comments that are just, they're not super racist, but they're racist.
Yeah, exactly. And how they don't have a problem with living next to this death factory, constantly hearing people screaming, people getting shot, people yelling over loudspeakers, and the constant churning, yeah. So that just shows that it's this ignorance of atrocity is evil in and of itself, which it is.
Sure.
These are evil people who don't have a problem with what's going on.
Yeah. I just kept getting the feeling that they were trying to normalize, like, the people who worked with it. Like, they're not the bad guys. They're just doing their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's this thing about, being passive is also being bad,
Yeah, but that's what the whole movie is about. But I agree, I think it fails. First of all, we've seen the banality of evil before.
Yeah.
It's like, this is nothing new. The only thing that is new about it is they filmed it like a Big Brother episode. Because it's all like cameras hidden all around the
house, basically.
The house, and and people just walking through them, in the gardens. And like, they're miking up all the rooms so they could basically just go about their business in the house. There was no like blocking, no direction really.
No.
I mean, they had a script, but I think a lot of the dialogue is partially improvised, stuff like that, just to make it as mundane as possible, and the horrors of something so regular going on next to the killing of millions of people. Yeah, and that is horrific. It is, but it doesn't. For me, at least, it didn't stick.
No. There's no like making us feel bad for them or bad for the people outside of their wall. There's no painting anyone really as a bad person here. It's just so meh.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people are
even towards the end when the father starts coughing up black stuff, and I'm assuming he developed some sort of sickness from all of the bad stuff he did. I don't know, chemicals and whatever. We still don't feel bad for him. We still don't feel like, oh, he deserved it. There's nothing. There's just, oh, he got cancer or something. I don't know.
Yeah. What I wrote, because I think it sums it up pretty well. I want to read some of the other reviews though, because a lot of people I saw one guy, Thomas Flight, who's not a YouTuber. We'll get to that because he was very affected by it. Sure. I wrote, as an experiment with sound and vision, this is pretty exciting, which it is. I think it is. But that's what this director does a lot. He experiments with sound and vision.
Yeah.
But as a piece of cinema, I find it lacking. The banality of evil is a popular phrase when discussing the Holocaust is on full display here, and it is as affecting as ever. The slow, meticulous pace gradually tries to drive you insane. But at the same time, I fail to feel much of anything. Not because we don't get to see the atrocities that we know are unfolding, mere feet from the house, but because the initial shock of the situation wears off eventually.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the movie, I thought, not that I would go insane, but that the characters would go insane. Like, you can't live next to this. You cannot disregard your humanity that much. So you can hear day in and day out people screaming for their lives.
The only person...
oh, it's okay.
The only person who shows any kind of reaction to it is one of the sons, the younger sons. He's like...
And the mom's mother. The grandma.
Yeah, the grandma. Yeah.
She runs away. She can't take it.
Yeah.
Which I wish there were more of that. Show them feeling something.
But even though with the youngest son, he's like trying to justify it within himself somehow.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but this is what we should do. This is normal.
Yeah. And you see, here's what people will say, but that's the point. Aren't you appalled by the fact that they don't care and you care? Yes, for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But then the movie goes on for another 90, and you're like, I get it.
And then you throw in these, what's it called? That effect when black becomes white and white becomes black kind of thing?
Negative?
Yeah, negative of the girl putting apples or pears or whatever it is in the working space for
she's hiding food for the starving Jews. Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
That was a real thing. She lived in the house with them, and at night her mom would tell her to go leave food for the prisoners.
Oh. Okay.
That actually, because this is based on reality. Like,
sure.
The Hess family was real, and that little girl existed. She did that.
Okay, but why show that in negative?
Because, and that's where the experimental thing with this guy, what is his name? Stephen Knight, I think? No. What is the director's
Jonathan
name?
Glazer?
Sorry, Jonathan Glazer. I mixed him up with another guy. Jonathan Glazer. All of the movie is basically lit with just sunlight or, regular...
normal
lamps. It's very natural. They use as little studio lighting as possible. So when filming night scenes, he didn't want to put up a bunch of big what are they called? Spotlights and shit.
Yeah.
To make the night look all bright, and so you can see what's happening, because for that little girl it was pitch black when she ran around there.
Sure.
Yeah. So they filmed it in pitch darkness, but with a heat camera, an IR camera, kind of like Dune Part 2 did for that scene on Gidi Prime.
But they did pretty.
Yeah, but to not make it feel artificial.
Sure.
To show how dark it really was for her. Problem is,
that made it look super fake.
Yeah, it doesn't translate. It just looks weird.
Yeah.
And if you don't explain that to people watching, they're gonna go, "Why is this part in negative?"
Yeah, which
they won't. A regular person won't go, "Oh, I understand." They want to show how dark it really is without shining a light on the character.
No, I didn't get that. I'm the normal person in this case. I didn't understand it. I just thought this is some weird ass artistic installation inside of all of it. All of a sudden,
this is the antithesis of American fiction, where this is not very approachable for everyone. This is very, very experimental, to its detriment, I think.
Also, the fact that it's released now makes one of the more popular reviews on Letterboxd very
oh
tricky,
God!
I guess.
The guy gave like 1 star or whatever.
No, he gave it 3 stars. Mitchell Beaupre. Truly horrifying how many people are going to watch this movie, rate it highly and bestow it awards and whatever, and then still be pro-Israel. This is literally about you.
But that's kind of funny as well, because, you know, Israel, they're Jewish.
Yeah.
And this is about the killing of Jews.
Yeah.
I see what he's getting at, but it's also like, bruh.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's not what they were trying to do.
No, of course not. And also, I just want to say, I'm not pro-Israel in this situation.
No.
But you know what? I can fully understand why, after 2,000 plus years of persecution and hatred, the people in Israel said, you know what? We've had enough of this. Fuck you. We're going to bomb you now.
Yeah.
It's not the right thing to do, but I can fully understand why. They were like, we've had enough of this. Now we have nukes.
Basically, yeah. That whole situation is just a shit show in general.
Yeah. So this movie has nothing to do with that. That is typical fucking modern person like, oh, it's actually, but no, it's not. Yeah. It's about what happened 80 years ago.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Which, that's the part also. I'm like, we've seen this whole Nazi anti-propaganda movies for, about 80 years now. Are we not done with that? Do we really need more of it?
They tried to
Everyone knows that what they did was wrong.
We know, but that is one of those things where we need to be constantly reminded so we do not repeat it.
Sure.
That is why we have history, you know.
Yeah, but we're reminded in other ways. Can we not make movies about other stuff now?
I don't think it's a problem that we're reminded through a film. I'm fine with that. I just think that this one didn't work.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm
at least not for me.
Because it didn't work.
I wrote this as well, after I said that the shock of the situation wears off. If this was some kind of interactive exhibit at a museum where you could walk through the house and maybe even sit down and drink coffee in the garden, all the while hearing the factory noises mixed with the screams and gunfire, and maybe even smell the smoke, because everything must have been covered in soot.
Yeah, that's why we have this one scene where the mother, like, closes all the windows and pulls in the laundry because it's gonna be dirty by the smoke.
Also she closes the window to not hear it. There's constantly, because they have all the windows open because it's summer, but you know, when they have a conversation they always close the windows. Those are the little details that people love. But imagine you can hear that. That would be powerful. That would really make you feel.
Yes.
As a movie though, it didn't work all the way for me.
No,
so,
exactly.
I didn't dislike it. Once again, this is a 3 out of 5 for me. I think it's a good movie. I just think it would. No, it's a good experiment, not a great movie.
I think it's a bad movie and a failed experiment, if I'm being honest.
No.
It did not do anything except for annoy me.
It's one of those, though. I hate that. Just like with Yorgos Lanthimos, I love Jonathan Glazer. Jonathan Glazer. I don't know why I think his name is Stephen Knight. That's another.
Oh, right. He did Under the Skin.
Under the Skin. Once again, hiding cameras, natural light.
Oh, yeah. I gave that one 1 star as well.
Oh, no. Okay.
See, I don't like him. He's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that. Next, let's go with Maestro, so we get all the generic shit out of the way.
Maestro today. It took me all day to finish it because it's very... It's a lot. There's a lot, especially in the beginning.
It is
so much happening.
It is the very definition of Oscar bait.
Oh yeah,
it's a tearjerker. It's a character study where the lead actor, who's also the director here,
and writer and producer,
has all the spotlight on him. He has makeup to make himself look as this historical person he's playing. It is everything that an Oscar winner should have, which means it shouldn't win Oscars. That's what we call Oscar bait.
It's also just not that good.
No, it's fine. What did I write about it?
You wrote a pretty by the numbers biopic. It's Oscar bait, but not the worst I've ever seen. My favorite part was when Bradley Cooper spent the entire movie doing stereotypical Jew guy voice with a giant fake nose glued to his face. Nick Mullen would be proud.
Because this is a white Catholic man who goes around with a giant nose on his face. You know, that
Yeah, the Jew nose.
The Jew nose, yeah. And he goes around talking like this all the time. He's like, this is borderline racist.
Yeah.
No, I'm really trying to be whatever his name is, Leonard Bernstein. Yeah, but you also sound like the Jewish dad character in Family Guy.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
Now I'm gay.
And also I'm sure Leonard Bernstein was gay or bisexual. I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to make here. But they're like exaggerating it to a point where it's just annoying.
It's one of those things where it has never been... He never said it.
Sure.
From what I understand. He never confirmed it.
No.
But it was always there, like in his like memoirs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he had male and female lovers. He married a woman, but he still loved men. Whatever.
And they had to make that the whole thing here.
That's what I'm saying. They had to make that the entirety of his personality, which I'm pretty sure was not, if he's such a great composer and conductor.
That's so of the time as well. This is a story about a closeted gay man.
But he's not closeted. He's very much out of the closet, to the point where his children are uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Like, he kisses men out on the street.
If you keep this up, you're gonna die a lonely old queen.
That's the thing, though, as well. He gets to marry a girl. They both love each other, obviously, even though they fight a lot. And in the middle, she resents him for taking other lovers because she's too busy not getting someone else. Yeah. It's so... I don't know. It's so messy.
Yeah, it's so... you know what? I don't know. I gave it 3.5 stars. Jesus Christ, that's a little much.
I gave it a 2.
I'm
not even sure I like the acting, but by most parts,
he was fine. I liked Carey Mulligan. I'm not a fan in general of her, but I think she was good. You know who I really liked in this? Who constantly, once again, is just sidelined in his acting career. Matt fucking Bomer, who's so good.
I was like, wait, is that him?
Yeah, it's Matt Bomer. He should have bigger roles. He's good.
Yeah, him and Maya Hawke actually did pretty well good. With what little she had. Both of them with what little they had.
No. Now, this is
even
typical...
fucking Sarah Silverman outperformed Bradley Cooper in this. And I don't like Sarah Silverman.
I don't know.
This just felt like Bradley Cooper, well, jerking himself off.
Yes!
To an image of himself.
And that's kind of funny because he... in interviews and stuff, he seems to genuinely, like, this was his passion project.
Sure.
But and you can see him get, like, and not acting, you know, but be genuinely emotionally affected in interviews talking about Leonard Bernstein and stuff. And, you know, good for him.
Yeah.
But this movie... and A Star Is Born, which came out a few years ago, which it was his first directorial debut.
Right, he did that one too.
Oscar bait, like he can direct, but he tries too hard.
Maybe he shouldn't act in what he's directing. Maybe that would help, because so he can focus on the directing.
I'm not saying he's a bad director. It's just. He tries too hard. It's too obvious that he wants to, like, show everyone how fucking great I am.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Good,
he
should direct someone else. Don't direct yourself. Don't put you're just doing it for yourself now.
Yeah.
You need to showcase other people's talents to showcase your own actual talent.
But that's kind of what I think is this is a little theory I have about him as an actor, as a person. Because there's a clip from, like, the late 90s. Do you remember the show Inside Actors Studio?
Yeah, vaguely.
Where James Lipton, who was an acting teacher, an actor himself, interviewed famous actors and sometimes like comedians, but mainly actors. And he did it at, I think, a New York acting school, something, where the audience was always made up by students at the school.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah. And there is one episode where Louis C.K. is being interviewed, because he's mainly a comedian, but he also does act. He also directs movies nowadays. And towards the end of the show, they always let the audience, the students, ask questions, because,
yes.
chance for them to learn from some of the greats, And in that audience, a young man named Bradley Cooper asks, I don't remember exactly what the question is, but he's sitting there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, oh, I really love acting, I want to get into make the big movies and everything, and what do you think I should do, basically?
Yeah.
And Louis C.K., a famous curmudgeon, just goes like, it's never gonna happen, kid. Like 90% of you are gonna fail, and blah blah blah. Like, I'm not saying you're bad. It's just like, prepare for disappointment. Yeah, that's reality. Like, it's a fluke. Look at me. That's a fluke. I shouldn't be here. He says, basically. Yeah. And maybe you shouldn't either. And he's like, So, I mean, since then, like, he started out doing like romantic comedies and shit. Like, yes. he did the thing you should. He took every part he could. Fucking Failure to Launch and Wedding Crashers and movies like that.
Yeah.
And then he kind of had his big break once again in a comedy with The Hangover.
Oh,
but then from that he he had his chance to like launch his career. So he went all in for like the big roles. Like, Silver Linings Playbook.
That's where it started
Hustle,
with the whole.
It's called. And then of course now and he has this typical like, I'm an actor kind of acting in movies like.
Yes.
Like, fucking even movies are good, like Limitless. It's a great movie. He's good in it, but it's just like, he's trying really hard to be a great actor.
Yeah.
And now that has translated into him making movies for himself, where he's trying so fucking hard to tell Louis C.K., like, fuck you, I became that actor that I wanted to be.
I did it.
But he's trying too hard, which means he's never going to be that actor, even though he can be.
He's also overworking himself a little bit.
It's such an Ouroboros. Like, he's eating his own tail. Like, it's never going to happen. You're just stuck in this now Oscar bait loop. Time is a flat circle.
Throw in some Marvel just to make extra money.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because he's Rocket.
Which I never liked him as Rocket.
He's fine. Luckily, it's just a voice.
Yeah, I know, but
thank God he's not actually physically in the movie. That would be annoying.
But that's what I think of Maestro. It's a try-hard movie.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not great. It's fine. Whatever.
It's middle of the road. It's very messy, in my opinion, because there's so much like back and forth happening. I didn't even follow it for the first like hour.
No,
I no idea what they were getting at. I had to read the synopsis to realize, it's just a biopic. I thought there was like supposed to be a story here, like a message or something. No. It's just a.
They're just telling Leonard Bernstein's story.
Yeah. And it ends with him dancing seductively on a stage which I thought was a club with one of his students in the modern days, which is just nasty.
Weird. Yeah, he becomes that nasty old man who hits some
which, like,
young guys.
If my students dance with me, I'll give them extra attention and make sure they actually go somewhere in this world, because I can make people famous now because I'm famous. Disgusting.
Although,
sorry to Bernstein, whatever who you are. I don't know if you were actually nasty.
He's a wonderful composer.
Sure, bet he is.
Wonderful conductor, he is. I don't think this movie did him any favors.
No, it made me look at him as a weird person.
We've talked about this briefly during our spoiler awards nominations. The scene where he conducts the whatever Philharmonic Orchestra in the church is an amazing scene. Stuff like that is where he shines as a director. It's very, very technically fulfilling.
I remember you saying that was like one scene, one take.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, but there's a bunch of like different angles and shit.
It is. It was filmed as one take.
Sure, but then they filmed it with like 5 different cameras, where they did it 5 times in one take.
No, the camera keeps moving.
No, but it's like they cut to like a wide shot of the choir, and then you have the side shot of him, and then you have the portrait of the girls in front singing. Then you have another angle of him. There's a bunch of cuts in it.
Okay, maybe. All right. I don't know.
So I had to like rewind that one twice. To be like, but they cut. How is this a one take? It's not, though. I mean, like I said, they probably shot it in one take, but they had to have like multiple takes of the entirety or multiple cameras, and then just cutting where the camera happened to be in screen or something. In shot. I have to say that the makeup of Bradley Cooper, because I'm looking at a picture of the actual Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah.
Terrible. He looks like a caricature of him.
Yeah.
Even worse then, because he looks even more like a stereotypical Jew compared to what Leonard Bernstein actually looks like. I think that movie was not a great biopic of someone. It felt kind of rude, if I'm being honest. It felt like more like a criticism of him than an homage.
No. It shows once again. It shows all the complexities of a person. He's not all good. He's not all bad. You know, he's a human being with flaws, Rebecca.
Sure. Hell, you know, he loved his wife, even though he loved other people as well.
Yeah, this fearless love story chronicles the complicated lifelong relationship between music legend Leonard Bernstein and Felicia Montealegre Cohn Bernstein. It's complex. It's difficult, Rebecca. Love. It's difficult. Anywho,
next movie.
What's the last one? Oh, Holdovers.
Oh,
Holdovers.
What a wonderful, feel-good...
a wonderful movie.
Lovely movie.
So cozy, so nice, so warm, so beautiful, but at the same time, very affecting.
Yeah.
And yeah, it definitely helps that it takes place during Christmas. You said... It's not very Christmassy. This is an amazing Christmas movie.
But it didn't feel like Christmas.
Oh, I'm going to watch it every Christmas.
Sure, but you could also watch this in the middle of summer. Like, it wouldn't feel weird.
No, but... Yeah, it's not a Christmas movie because it doesn't take place over Christmas. It takes place over
earlier.
2 weeks. Starts early, ends after.
Yeah.
But I would, like, the same way, not that they're the same kind of movie, but the same way that It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas movie, even though very little of it takes place on Christmas.
Yeah.
It has that, for me, it had that Christmas magic.
Sure.
It was, you know, people being stuck in a situation they didn't want to be in, and finally, you know, they were bonding over, you know, shared trauma, shared hardships, you know.
Yeah. And
in the end, you know, even though that doesn't work out perfectly for them, they're better people, both of them.
Yes.
And that last, it was almost a little bit of a Dudes Rock movie there in the end when he told the headmaster to basically fucking shove it.
Yeah.
Got fired, but at least, you know, spoilers, I suppose. At least the kid got to stay at the school, and he could realize who he really was. And they're just standing there, both holding back the fucking tears.
They want to hug so bad.
Yeah, I mean, just, you fucking perfect. Thanks, man. And then just drive off. Fuck, I loved it.
Yes.
It's a 5 out of 5 for me. I wish this came out in Sweden in 2024. Because it was like...
2023, you mean?
Oh, 2023, I mean. Because this... Or did it? No.
I don't know if this has any, like, Swedish premiere date, really.
I think it was in theaters in Sweden. Oh, no. Because in that case, why the fuck didn't I go see it? I'm such a bad person. No, yes! January 2024, Sweden. Ooh, I know who's going up for Spoiler Awards 2025.
Yeah, I've added this to the 2024 list.
Yes. Oh, it was amazing. There's nothing I can criticize in this movie. Nothing. It's a perfect movie. No, it's not perfect.
No, it's not a perfect movie, but it's it's up there.
It's great. Yeah, it's a 5 out of 5. And yes, I'm a little bit biased because it's a Christmas movie, but still. You don't even have to say more. It's just people hanging out, eating nice food.
The only issue I had was trying to figure out when the fuck does this take place? What year is this supposed to be?
I think it's supposed to be 69.
Okay.
Because he says, when they're at the Lydia's Christmas party, he says, what a wonderful Christmas tree you have, very space age. And she says, I got it to commemorate the moon landing. So I'm guessing she bought it because that summer they landed on the moon.
Yeah.
So it's Christmas 69, New Year's Eve switch between 69 and 70, I think.
Yeah, and it has the Vietnam War has just ended.
It's going on, yeah. No, it's going on.
It's going on, right? Yeah.
It doesn't explicitly say when it takes place, but I'm guessing it's around there.
Yeah, because they're talking about the moon landing in the Vietnam War. Yeah.
And the fact that wow. It was actually shot digitally on an Arri Alexa Mini.
That tells me nothing. If I'm being honest.
It's a very small, very digital camera. But the Arri cameras are good. But this looked so genuine. This is one of those where we talked about how you can tell the difference between digital and film. I couldn't tell. I was pretty sure this was shot on film.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I just read a trivia where it was
yeah?
just showing how old, well, how young some people are. The kid who played Angus Tully, Dominic Sessa, when he was shooting the scene where Angus calls home, he flubbed a take because he didn't know how to dial and had to be shown. It hadn't occurred to anyone that he had never used a rotary phone before. I mean, we didn't grow up with rotary phones, but we know how they work. We had one at home for a while for some reason.
No, our grandma had. We
right.
We had old 80s dial tone phones.
Sure, yeah.
For a long time. We had a landline at home.
Yeah.
We didn't even have cordless phones until the 2000s.
Yeah, we were very slow on anything and everything. I mean, I played The Sims 3, I think. No, well, at least Sims 2 on the dial-up.
Yeah. When this will never ever I will never forget this. I had bought Batman Begins on Blu-ray, so this was sometime in the end of 2005 or beginning of 2006. My friend and his girlfriend was coming over to watch it, and they're like, "We'll bring popcorn." And I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna watch Batman, eat popcorn," and they brought microwave popcorn. I was like, we don't have a microwave in 2005.
We also had, for some reason, still had one of those fat TVs. Because we compared, was it Batman Begins, I think, because you bought like a flat screen for your room, and Mom and Dad still had the fat one in the living room. So we compared...
They had an HD TV at that point, because that was 2008. They had a flat screen TV by then. Okay,
but there was one movie you compared like the differences of like the DVD on regular TV and then the Blu-ray, I think, on.
Yeah, because they had got an HD TV. I had a PlayStation 3, so I could play Blu-rays, with 1080p picture. So for that Christmas, I said I wish for The Dark Knight on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But they didn't know what that was. They still barely know. Mom barely knows what a Blu-ray is. Dad maybe knows. So they bought it on DVD, and I was like, yeah. I didn't want to say
Thank you. It's still the movie,
Still a movie, yeah. But then later that year, or the next year, in 2009, I bought it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I compared the two. And that's where I also discovered that, I don't know if it has to do with the resolution or not, but the same movie is different lengths.
Yes.
Based on Blu-ray, if it's DVD or Blu-ray. And not because there's more scenes or anything, it just...
The Blu-ray moves faster somehow.
No, slower. It's longer on Blu-ray. And if it's a really long movie, there's like several minutes difference.
Eventually, yeah.
even if it's the same movie with the same scenes, which is so weird. I never looked into why that is, but I found it out.
Yeah.
When I compared the two, because I couldn't line them up for more than like 30 seconds. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Anyway,
that was a
long
weird
tangent.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing more to say about Holdovers.
No. It's just a cozy, nice, good movie.
Yeah.
Such a feel-good movie.
Such a feel-good movie. So wonderful.
The classic, like, all three characters are kind of grumpy and unlikable, really, but, they grow on you, and they grow as they grow on each other. And you find out
why. They're complex.
They all have reasons.
They're flawed characters.
Stories.
It's wonderful. 3 amazing performances as well.
Oh, God, yes.
I can see why both, what's her name? Davine Joy and, what's his name? Paul Giamatti are both nominated for acting.
They
Oscars.
would have been in the spoiler awards as well. If we had watched this in the right time.
Yeah.
Wonderful movie. Absolutely wonderful.
So, do you have all the Academy Award nominations up? This is a little fun thing, yeah.
I made a little list. The Oscars 2024 Best Picture. And I've ranked them, obviously, by my ratings.
Yeah. I was going to say, not which movie is going to win the Oscar. We'll discuss that on Patreon. Yes. But how would you rank all the nominees? From bottom to top?
From bottom to top?
Yeah.
I have, then, Zone of Interest at a 0.5 star. I have Barbie. And Maestro and Poor Things. I think they're all... on 2 stars. No, Poor Things actually got a 0.5 star extra for flair, basically.
Yeah.
Then we have Killers of the Flower Moon with 3.5 stars. Past Lives, 4 stars. Holdovers, 4 stars. American Fiction, 4 stars. And Oppenheimer, 4.5.
So, spoiler for Patreon. If you had to pick who wins the best movie Oscar, it would be Oppenheimer?
Yes.
Out of these ones.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I would like to see something else win, but this would probably get my vote because you can't really compare to Oppenheimer. It was very I don't know how to explain it. Very grasping, very large, very demanding, I mean, it's stuck in my head, parts of it.
Oh yeah.
Even though the more we talk about it, even though I haven't rewatched it, but I've only seen clips and scenes of it, Past Lives is growing on me enormously.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
And I don't even have, like I said, I don't even have to rewatch it. I've only seen clips and bits and pieces, and we only talked about it, and it's still growing on me. Like, every time I happen to see the poster, I'm like, that movie. I think it moved me somehow.
Yeah, no. It has grown on me as well. We talked about this. Yeah.
It's so hard to rate something for an Oscar because I don't take the Oscar seriously.
No.
I hope that they're not going to give it to something else just because of what it is. Barbie does not deserve to win an Oscar. It's not a great movie in that way.
No.
It was funny and kind of pretty, but that's it. That's not Oscars worthy. That's not award worthy.
No.
And a movie that wins an award should have more to it than just a pretty picture.
Yeah.
There needs to be substance. There needs to be outstanding performances by the people in the movie and the people who made the movie. And Oppenheimer is a very good conglomerate of that.
Yeah. Yeah, out of the nominees for best movie, best picture, for me it's pretty, I mean, now Holdovers, but yeah.
As good as it is, it's not as much of a
experience.
There's not enough. This is gonna sound rude, kind of, but there's not enough work put into it because it's so.
I know what you mean.
But you know what I mean. It's so simple in the execution compared to Oppenheimer, which put in so much work with recreating the atom bomb, for Christ's sake. There's so much more going on behind the scenes, it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah.
They deserve recognition for that.
I feel like it's, for me at least, should be Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Followed closely by Holdovers and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
I would say.
Like, my ranking is obviously just my opinion of watching the
course.
movies. But if I had to, like, rank them for Oscars, it's Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, American Fiction.
Oh, yeah, American Fiction as well.
Yeah, I have a horrible feeling that Past Lives and Maestro and Poor Things are gonna get higher scores than Past Lives, for example, and Holdovers. Like, if you were to score the movies within the Oscars.
No.
A movie like The Holdovers and Past Lives, which are two of my absolute favorites on this list, are going to be bottom.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because they're too simple.
Too safe.
Too safe, yeah.
Even
they're not bombastic. They're not touching on, like, a difficult subject. They're touching on love, basically, and that's it.
Yeah.
Every other movie is talking about something more important.
Yeah. And that's...
That's why I don't like the Oscars.
Yeah, and sure, we have our own award ceremony now, but that's kind of why you shouldn't pit movies against each other like that.
No.
But it's fun.
We're just telling you, with our award show, we're just telling you what we liked.
Yeah.
For different reasons, which is why we have many more categories as well.
Yes.
You can't put a drama against a comedy or a horror movie. You need to separate them because they cannot compete with each other. It's like fucking apples and oranges.
Yeah, not always. No.
Not always, but like in general.
There are exceptions.
Of course, there's always exceptions.
At that, we should wrap this up because this was once again a long episode, but that was because we had a lot to talk about. So, yeah.
And we're probably going to continue talking about this on Patreon.
Yeah, I think we will a little bit. I think Patreon is going to be a rant episode, a conversation episode.
Yes.
Because we don't have anything specific to talk about other than movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe and the like button if you haven't already, and leave your comments. What's your favorite Oscar bait movie or whatever, leave a comment.
Yeah.
Also, once again, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene for literally hundreds of hours of exclusive episodes. And we will see you next week when we're doing the spoiler awards, right?
I think it's time for that, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna give you our favorite movies, favorite directors, favorite writers and actors and all that next week. So stay tuned for that. But until then, have a good one. Bye. The Spoiler Cast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It is produced and directed by Tobias Vedén and hosted by Tobias and Rebecca Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. I also want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Mom, Dad, Christopher Belén, Danny Del Gaiso, Mac and Mom, Laura Kinney, and CK85.